Well, good morning and welcome to a wet Mendips. To be more precise, I'm actually at Pretty Pool, which is across the road from Pretty Woods, which is that behind me. Pretty Pool is here. Probably, you know, if you were to type in Pretty in Google, you would come across this pool and also some shots of this wood. I think it's an old sort of quarry workings or something or other anyway, but what it's sort of, I would say famous for, it's not that famous a place really, but a lot of people locally know it. And there's a lot of photographs are taken here, mainly of this tree up on the top of this hill. That seems to be the poster boy from this location, but it's not what I'm here to shoot today. I've actually driven down here because I'm heading this way to go to work, and I've left a bit earlier to go to work, and I noticed there was a lot of mist around this morning. There always seems to be a lot of mist at the moment on these tops, especially as we had snow yesterday, as you can see. I did go out yesterday in the snow, however I didn't really do a video. I did an intro, and then I was sort of doing a lot of roadside photography where I drive along, pull in a gateway, get out and take a shot, or into a lay-by and get out and take a shot. So, and I was using the Lumix because it was sort of snowing heavily, and yeah, anyway, there's 1,000,001 excuses for why I didn't use a 4x5, but what I did do is get a couple of shots I was happy with yesterday, so I'll just post them on screen now just so you can see what I got from the snow yesterday. But today's sort of outing was mainly to go into Pretty Woods again with the 4x5. I've got Portra 160 and to try and get some misty shots in the woodland. However, when I was out yesterday, and I'll just swap hands because it's getting a bit heavy. When I was out yesterday, what I did drive down this road, although it was quite a lot of snow about. And for anyone watching outside the UK, we don't really use snow tyres here because we don't have enough snow to warrant putting them on. So, of course, and then a road like this is sort of the last road to be gritted and cleared of snow and all that business. But what I did notice was these trees in the background. I have seen these before, and there's a lot of sort of grassland. This is sort of a grassland area here, and what I liked about these was just the fact that the snow was there, and then you had like the different sort of the browny yellowy colour grass, dead grass there, and the just the snow. I thought that really sort of popped. And I like the trees, and I'm just going to find a nice tree now to photograph with the 4x5. It is raining, which is a little bit frustrating, but we can work with that. And I just wanted to get a tree here, so I was going to take a single shot here and then move into the wood, which is across the road, because there is a lot of mist in there at the moment. And yeah, just got to try and arrange these trees in a nice order, because I love the grass, I love the snow on the grass, and I love the trees, and the fact that then there's trees dotted about that disappear off into the mist as the hillside goes up. So I'm really liking that. So I'm going to try and get a shot here, and then we're going to move into the woods. So yeah, I'm going to get over there. I'm going to try and find a composition. I'm going to get the app out and have a look around, see what I can get, and then get a shot here and move into the woods. So I will see you when I'm over there and set up for my first shot. So I'll see you in a minute. Right then folks, so here we are. I've got, what I'm looking at here is some trees, as you can see here, and I'm focusing on the ones that are on this side. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up, hopefully it is. But what I've got is I've got a close tree here, and then another two that disappear off out into the distance, and I could just about see the last one in the mist. And then I've got a tree just to the other side of it. Now, if I'm honest, I'd have preferred if that tree wasn't there, so I could have just had that nice line of trees heading out into the mist in that direction, or if there's a couple more going that way, so you almost had like a V shape in trees, so it's a bit more uniform. But I haven't got that, so I've got to work with what I've got. Now, what I'm liking here is I quite like this near tree. It looks quite nice. There's some nice amount of grass and snow that's all mixed in together here. And like I say, I like the fact that these three trees here are fairly evenly spaced, and then they disappear off out into the mist there. It stopped raining, which is even better. So what I've done is I've set my tripod up level. I'm going to use the 250mm lens. I've had the viewfinder app out. Now, exciting news, I have actually got a new lens. I have actually purchased the 180mm lens, and I do have it with me today. So maybe I'll use it when I go into the woodland behind. But what the issue would be here is it's a little bit too wide for this scene. So obviously the closer you get to your subject in when you're dealing with mist, what happens is obviously the mist dissipates because you're getting close to the tree. I think I said that before in a video. So this is where, in my mind anyway, a zoom lens of some description is a better option here, because the further you stand back, obviously the more they disappear off out into the mist. The closer you get, the more the mist dissipates. So I want to be far enough away to be able to see the shots, but I want to be close enough so that I get enough detail on the trees and stuff. So I'm finding my 250mm lens was a better choice in this in this sort of scenario. So I'm hoping that when I get into the woods there, we can do some testing of the 180mm lens. And yeah, anyway, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get set up now for this first shot. So I'm using Portra 160. I'll get set up, and then we'll get some metering done, and then we'll get on and get this shot taken, and then head into the woods, because them woods are looking beautiful. It's really misty up here today, and it's just beautiful. So let's get on with it. Obviously I've got to do some metering in this. There's a lot of highlights to deal with today. So I'm hoping that there's not too much contrast between the darkness of the tree and obviously the brightness of the snow and the sky, so we can get everything in within the film's dynamic range that we're working with, which is about 8 stops, or that's what I work with, 8 stops, or 4 either side. So anyway, let's get on and set up now, and then I'll put the camera back on once we're all set up and ready to shoot, and then I'll talk you through the shot. Okay, so we're all set up here. What I've done is I've focused all the camera in. I've done it on this nearest tree here, because like I said, the other ones are disappearing off out into the background, so there's no point focusing on them. I have made an absolute schoolboy error this morning, and it's just an annoyance from my part, really. And that is, I've sort of come out this morning, I brought my bag, all the rest of it, I've put all the camera, made sure it was all in there. But because of my tripod situation, which I know I'm still going on about 3 weeks after actually talking about it initially, what I tend to be doing is, we moved house a few weeks ago, and there's certain things that I seem to have lost. I don't know where they are, but it happens to everyone, I guess, when people move house. But I used to have 2 tripod plates for this tripod. I had one fixed to this camera all the time, and I had another one which used to float between cameras. So I used to have it on my bottom of my C3, or when I had a digital camera, it would be on the bottom of that. But I lost that spare one. So what I've been having to do is to take it off the bottom of here to put it onto that when I've been shooting on that on this tripod, and vice versa, as well as putting it on the bottom of the C3. And of course, what I've done is I've obviously used it on this last and not put it back on here, and it's not in my bag, so it's clearly, I'll do a what's in my bag video at some point very soon. But essentially I have sort of little bags set up, so literally I can pick them up, put them in the Shimoda bag, and come out with me. So I've got all of my kit in one place for that particular camera. So obviously what I've got here is all my 4x5 gear, including my 6x17 back, which is a larger bag and a smaller bag. And then I've got smaller bags then, one for this, one for my C3, and one for my Bessa, which I'm just pulling the kit together for now. So of course the dream and what I'm aiming for at the moment, like I've said a million times before and I still haven't done it, is I need to sort out my tripod situation, because it is immensely frustrating that I've got you know, a Peak Design clip for this, and I'm loving the Peak Design, the fact I can just clip that to there and off I go. And then of course I haven't got a tripod that fits with that Peak Design clip, so I have to take it off the bottom and then I have to change it. Oh, it's just a bloody headache. And I know it's a first world problem and all of that, but it's obviously this morning has caused the problem. So what I've had to do is to literally sit the camera straight on the tripod like that. It is flat, but what it does mean that any movement I make, I've got to sort of clamp this with my hand and then make the change, and then just slowly release my hand so that this doesn't move. And I think I'm going to have to use a slightly narrower depth of field, I say narrow, somewhere around the f22, something like that, to if there is a slight bit of movement there, that I'm still going to have some focus in here. So that's the fingers crossed for it, but I'm trying to be as careful as I can with this, not to move the camera at all. And like I said, I'm just hugely frustrated with myself for not doing that, but it is going to now push me to make sure that I actually go and sort my bloody tripod situation out. But anyway, let's get on and meet this scene. So like I said before, what I'm dealing with here is some dark trees and some very bright snow and sky. Obviously the snow here is looking brighter than the sky. The sky is looking a slightly grey colour. Obviously the snow is very white, so I need to make sure that I have a good range of a good tonal range between all of that, and that it fits within my 8 stops of dynamic range. So I'm going to sort of meet around. I'm probably going to start with a tree, because that's the bit that I do want to have some detail on, and then we're going to see where everything else falls on the scale between that. So I'm going to start with a tree, which is giving me 12 2/3. So I'm going to put that at the darker end of the scale. I don't want it to sit sort of in the completely black scale, so I'm going to put this on the scale at sort of -2. So let's do the snow. So the snow is a 14, and the sky is the same. Actually the sky is a 14 as well. So actually, having looked at that, I reckon that there is only the sort of grassy areas of 13 1/3. So there isn't really that much between that. So I'm going to move the tree round so it's on the brighter end. 13 2/3. I think I'm going to set the sky at sort of what you would call middle tone, or middle grey, and I'm going to let everything else fall in around it, I think. Yeah, 12 2/3, which is a -1 on here. The sky is 13 2/3, which, like I say, I'm putting it as sort of middle grey. And then the snow is 13 2/3, and the grass is 13. So there really isn't a great deal of range in all of that, to be honest. So yeah, it surprised me a bit. I was expecting there to be a lot more difference between the snow and the darker tree, but yeah, that's worked out okay. In fact, I'll just make that tree slightly lighter, so no, I won't. I'll leave it like that. Right, so in terms of sort of numbers now and what it's given me, I'll just bring this a bit closer to the camera so you can see what I'm looking at here. So hopefully that's focused in on that. So what you've got here is I've stuck this range sort of bit on the side here, and these are my 8 stops that I'm dealing with. So what I'm ideally looking for is to fit everything from the brightest part to the darkest part within this scale. If I was shooting slide film, I'd be looking at 6 stops. So I'd be looking from +3 to -3, and I'd be looking to fit all the tones in this scene within that. So obviously, if there is a tone that is outside of that on the brighter side, and say it's the sky, normally it would be the sky, what I would do is that's when I'd start introducing a graduated filter to bring that sky from the brighter from outside of the scale to within the scale on this side, and then obviously the darker tones would sit over here. So that's what I'm sort of looking at now. I don't worry about this side. This is an old measurement that we don't use anymore. And then this ASA is your ISO. It used to be called ASA until it was all standardized. Now it's ISO, so it's exactly the same. There's no different there. So obviously I'm dealing with 160, so I've got this set on about 160. And then once you've looked through the viewfinder on the back, it will give you EV readings, which are these readings down the bottom. So when I'm just racking off numbers and saying, oh, it's it's +12 2/3, or it's 13 1/3, or it's 13 or 14 or 9 or whatever, I'm referring to, it's giving me numbers which refer to this scale on the bottom of here. So like I say, when I was looking at tree, it was giving me 12 2/3. So what I've done is I've set 12 2/3 up on -1, because it is the darker part of the scene, and then everything else really is falling in between there and what the center is on this scale, which would be technically mid-grey. So that's what we're sort of looking at here. And then what you have on the top is you have what is referred to as F on here is obviously your f-stop. So this is all the options you've got to set your aperture at. And then once you've chosen an aperture you want to work with, so say I'm going to work with f22, you look up from there and it says, okay, f22 is 1/30th of a second, or it's actually 1/30th of a second and a third. But what I don't do the thirds on the top, because obviously my camera's not set up like that. What I do I've got third stop increments on my f-stop, so I'll actually set this up to f22 and 1/3 to give me 1/30th of a second. So that is basically how this works and how I've just metered that scene and what I'm looking at when I'm just randomly shouting out numbers. It's not random, it's basically me applying back to this scale on where I want to fit within this 8 stops of dynamic range. When I'm working with colour and black and white negative film, like I say, if I was working with slide film, I'd narrow that range and go with plus and minus 3 and try to get everything within that. And that's when you generally, more often than not, need to start introducing graduated filters to hold skies back and all that sort of jazz. So anyway, I'm going to get on and shoot this. So like I say, if I did f22 and a third, it'd give you 30th of a second. So I'm now going to clamp that down. It's just started to rain again, which is annoying. I'm going to clamp that down now and just change my my settings on there, and hopefully not move the camera. So f22 and a third and 30th of a second. So let's put that back in there. Like I say, I'm so annoyed at myself, and I've annoyed myself that much that I'm gonna literally go home today and sort my bloody tripod situation out, because I am frustrated as hell with just being an idiot basically. But anyway, right, so that's all set up. If I just push that down, just gonna fire off a chest shot. Oh, it is moving. Right, so that's all working. I'm going to put the shutter down again. I'm going to check the aperture bay is closed, which it is. Right, now the difficult part comes, which is I need to try and take the dark side out of here without pulling the camera that way. And oh my God, it's so annoying. But anyway, I'm determined not to waste £8 on a sheet of portrait, and I'm determined to get a shot. So I'm just going to pull that out. Oh, that did move quite a bit. I'm just going to push it back in this way slightly. Right, that's it. Let's get on and take this image without moving the camera. Right. That's it. First shot in the bag. I'm just going to push that in there. I'm not bothered about it moving, because like I said, I was only going to take one shot from here anyway. But just annoyed. What I might have to do is actually swap the tripods around. So that one there just got a screw mount that goes straight into the bottom of the camera. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, when I get into the woodland in a second, I'm going to have to swap over and put this on that, and then sort of handheld or just balance that on top of here. I think is what the way I'm going to have to go with this, just to be able to shoot today, because yeah, I'm not confident with trying to clamp this down, hold this down without having it move or whatever. So anyway, right, let's get this packed away and then get into this woodland, and we'll start the next part of today's adventure. I'll see you in a second. Right, so Welcome to this bit of woodland that I was at a few weeks ago with that Lumix that sat on that tripod. Like I said a minute ago, I've had to sort of change tripod slightly and change my arrangement. So what I've done is I've got this little Manfrotto here, which I'm going to try and put the Intrepid on, and hopefully it's stable enough. It might not work, I don't know, but I'm going to give it a go. Certainly going to be more stable than just balancing it on the top of that. What I'm suffering with in here, as you could probably hear, it's quite loud, is it sounds like it's an absolute monsoon in here, in the forest. But obviously the reason for that is there's a bit of wind about, and of course this is 4 inch, so there's large lumps of snow falling from the branches above. I've been hit by a couple of them already. I'm just hoping that something doesn't fall off and hit the camera or hit this camera when I'm set up. So anyway, that aside, my stupidity aside, let's talk about this shot. So again, the reason why I like this shot is because I like this sort of walkway going through, and I like this structure that somebody's built. Like I said in the last video that I did here, I like it because it just reminds me of my childhood and building these in the woods years ago. So I'm going to try and shoot this again. Of course, this is now a different scene to what it was the other day. Not only have we got mist, which we had, we've now got snow. And it is a rarity that we get snow like this in this country to be able to come out and shoot this. So I thought that I would try and get a shot here, and then I'm going to go around to the other side of it and shoot it coming back this way, as I did last time, because I do really like both of those shots that I got from this location with the Lumix last time. There is also a couple of trees with some sort of brownish leaves on them in the distance. I don't know what trees they are, but someone will tell me, I'm sure. But there is one that's right ahead of me, and again from here it looks really nice, but as I get closer to it, obviously the look of it is going to change as I get closer to it. So it might be that when I actually do approach it, that it just ends up with as not a shot that I want to take. So I'm going to take this first of all, and then I'm going to get around the other side and take the other one. I haven't got much time left now. I've probably only got about half an hour, and then I've got to get off, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm going to that was a load of just landed there. I'm going to try and get out now and set this up. This probably is going to be a pretty stupid idea, because the load of snow there nearly took this camera out just then. Because like I say, trying to keep the Intrepid dry now is going to be very, very difficult. But I'm hoping that I'm just stood in a tiny bit of an opening, so it's not as bad as say standing over there. But this could be a really stupid idea. But anyway, let's get on and set this up, stop moaning about it, set it up, and let's get this shot taken. So once I'm set up, I will, and I'm focused in, all the rest of it, I'll turn the camera back on, and then we'll get the shot taken. So I'll see you in a second. Right, I'm hoping the camera's not steamed up too badly. I'm actually now just set up on here. God, this is difficult working conditions in here. It doesn't seem like it, but it just seems like it's absolute monsoon in here. It's got big bits of snow falling from these trees, and they're landing all around me, and obviously I'm not ideal tripod situation going on here. I'll just move this round. There we go. Yeah, I've not got the most ideal tripod situation going on here. I can see there's loads of water on this lens as well, so yeah, everything's I've sort of focused in on the little sort of den thing there. Obviously the lens on the front's getting covered. I'm just trying to sort of battle with all elements here to get this shot. I put the film holder in, so we're ready to go on that. I focused in. We're all ready on that front. So all I've got to do now is meter, and hopefully this comes out. I might just have to refocus that, because I just noticed that the lens has shifted forward. So I just need to tighten that up. So I'll just have to check that, but I'm just using the dark cloth to try and shield the camera from the snow and what seems like rain, but it's not actually raining. Right, so let's get this scene metered. So I'm going to start with the trees because they're fairly dark, and place them on the sort of, I don't want them obviously completely black. I want them to have some detail in, so I'm going to start with them, and then I'm going to go around the scene and meter others. So I'm going to start with this tree here. That is an EV of 8, so I'm going to set 8 on -2 for the moment, and let's meter some snow. is 10 1/3, which is round about middle grey. Let's go for some of this mist in the background, is 9 1/3, which is 9 2/3. Yeah, so I can actually bring that tree a bit lighter, to be honest, because again, there's not much dynamic range going on in this scene that I can see. That snow in front of me is 11. The den is 8. 9 2/3. Yeah, okay, so I'm happy with what I've got there. I'm really only dealing with probably 3.5 stops of dynamic range, so really not that much. Right, let's get this. I'm just going to check focus again, because like I said, the lens is tilted forward, so I just want to make sure that the focus is right. And then I'm going to go over there and take another shot, and then I think I'm going to call it a day, because as beautiful as it is in here, it's very difficult shooting in these conditions with a large format camera. But you know, I'm not. I'll just get on with it and yeah, enjoying the challenge, I suppose. Yeah, so let's see what options we've got on here then. So if I go, I don't need to have a a narrow aperture here, so I will probably shoot something like f8. If I do f5.6 and 2/3, it gives me 15th per second. Like I say, I've got nothing here that I want to slow down movement, so I can shoot with a faster shutter speed here. So I say I've got nothing. I'm not looking to blur anything out here. So if I go with f with 5.6 and 2/3, and then that is 15th of a second. Put that in there, just trying to keep everything dry. Right, I'm just going to disappear back in here again and try and get this sorted. Smooth that right into the right aperture, f5.6 1/3. Just open the aperture blade. I've got to make sure that I close it again once I've done this. So take the film holder out again. Right, there we go. Of course, what I'm finding under here is that everything is misting up, which is frustrating. Okay, so that's looking good. So I'm going to put this back in here. I'm going to close the shutter. Just going to fire off a test shot. Yeah. Okay, let's get on and take this shot. I'm going to take this off of here for the simple reason that, as you can see, the tripod is wiggling around quite a lot here because this is not a stable tripod. Right, so that's all set up. That's all right. Let's get this shot in the bag and move on. Done. Right, let's put that back in there. Let's just cover that back up again. Right, so I'm going to get this packed away now, and I'm going to move on around the corner. Like I say, it's a challenge, I'll give it that. And then I've really got to get on and get on with the next part of my day, I suppose. So right, I'm going to get this packed away. I'm going to move over there, and I'm going to take the next shot. Now, I would just say while I'm stood here that the lens I'm using is actually my new 180mm lens. So I'm really excited to see what I get from that. Hopefully it's something decent, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Obviously if it isn't decent, it won't be down to the lens, it'll be down to me and dealing with these conditions today. So anyway, I'm gonna get packed up and I'm gonna get on to the next shot, so I'll see you in a second. Right, so I've had to admit defeat with the 4x5 because it is just getting worse in here. It's absolutely beautiful. Just the mist and everything that's going on around me is beautiful. But as you could probably hear from hopefully the audio, it is like a monsoon, like I mentioned a minute ago, and just trying to, you know, keep the camera dry, keep the film dry, keep the lens dry. It's just an absolute nightmare. Obviously the Lumix I'm filming on now is sort of waterproof, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But it is getting an absolute beating out here today, which to be fair was, you know, what it's built to do, to be honest. So yeah, it's doing a fantastic job for me as it stands at the moment. But like I say, just trying to battle with this is not good. So I'm hoping the audio is holding up as well, because the Rode wireless mic on the top is getting absolute battering as well. But yeah, I'm going to take a couple of digital images of this just to compare it against the ones I took the other day. And then there is a tree just well, just there, which is looking quite nice as well, so I'm going to get a shot of that. And there's also one just through this woodland here, shooting back that way, which I'm going to take, which looks quite nice as well. So I'm going to flash them up now while I'm just doing my outro. But I've got a couple of shots today which hopefully are going to turn out nice. Certainly that first one, I don't think there'll be an issue with that, but in here it's been very challenging, like I say, so probably might be an absolute fail. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and a like to it would be amazing. It's you know, coming out with this, hopefully it deserves a like, hopefully. But yeah, if you liked it, then please leave a like, really appreciate that. And then if you're liking the content, a subscription to the channel would be absolutely amazing, it helps me out massively, and I really do appreciate. Please leave a comment below, and yeah, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your shooting, and I shall see you in the next video.